Good morning everybody and welcome to Wednesday's writing lesson. So I have got an image here of the beginning of my story plan of my story of the crow's tale. You can see that I have got the picture of the crow in the middle, and on my plan I do have character highs and character lows, and we'll talk about those a little bit later on. Mainly the thing that we're looking at first of all are the plot points. So the first plot point was the first main event in the story was when the animals gathered together because they were cold. So we talked about that bit yesterday and you were thinking of forming some fantastic sentences. Today our plot point is going to be how the animals are going to prepare for the journey that they're going to go on. A perilous journey will need to be done. Our bravest and best must go to the sun. Without the sun's warmth we'll have nothing to eat. So which one of you will ask for some heat? The structure of today's lessons is going to be exactly the same as yesterday. There are going to be 3 parts to the lesson and you should spend around 20 minutes on each part. So that forms the whole hour for the whole English lesson, which is the same amount of time that we spend on it in class. So for part 1, have a look at this page and how are the animals looking into the distance? Have a think about what action they're doing. They are looking. I want you to think, can you think of any other words that you could use instead of looking? If you're not sure, have a chat with your adult or whoever is at home and see if you can think of 2 or 3 words that you could use instead of looking. For example, you could use the words staring, gazing. Have a think of some more. Following on from that, the animals are looking at the sun, so you can see that the sun's starting to rise. So this picture is obviously drawn in the morning, the sun's about to come up. I want you to think of some adjectives to describe what the sun would be like. It might be what it looks like, what it feels like. You might describe it as being warm and toasty. You might describe it as shining and shimmering and rising. So make a short list of different words that you can use to describe different parts of the sun. Then finally, to make sure we write our super sentence in a minute, you're also going to need to think of words that you could use instead of thought. So here the animals are looking out, they're staring at the sun, they're gazing at it rising. And each of them are thinking about what would happen if they took on the perilous journey, if they were going to go on the risky journey to go and find an answer that they need. So they need some more food, don't they? And they want to ask for some more heat to grow the food and to get warm. So what other words could you use instead of thought? So have a think. Have a chat with your adult, and if you're not very sure on this one, if you skip on to the next slide, I've got some ideas on there. So in our part 1, we have made 3 different lists. You've got 3 lists. One list is thinking of words to describe how the animals are looking instead of looked. You've got words to describe the sunshine, and you've got words instead of the word thought. Using some words from those 3 lists, we're going to form a really super sentence. So we're going to describe how the animals are looking at the sunshine and what they're doing. For example, my sentence. Staring at the distant sun, the creatures thought. And I don't need to add any more than that. That is the main base of what I'm looking for. I've told you that my animals are staring, and I've told you that they're staring at the distant sun. So the sun is so far away, it's in the distance. And I have used the word thought. Now what I want you to do now is using my structure there and write your own sentence using the ideas that you thought of. You just need to write the sentence starter, you don't need to finish it off. Part 2. This part of the lesson that you should spend the next 15-20 minutes on, you're going to be thinking about your inner thought and your animal's inner thought. Okay, your inner thought is what you're thinking in your head at that time. I'd like you to imagine that you are one of these animals sat on the snow here all together and staring into the sunshine. If you were going to have to go on to a perilous journey, that means it's scary, it's risky, it's terrifying. How would you feel? What would your inner thoughts be? Would you be looking forward to the journey? Would you be feeling scared? What would you be most afraid of? Why are you scared? Using your ideas about how those animals might feel and how you would feel if you were one of those animals, you're going to, on the next slide, write a sentence about your inner thoughts. So here is my example. I hope it's not me that goes on the risky journey. I am not brave or bold enough, thought the rabbit. So that's what my rabbit is thinking. You choose an animal of your choice now, and I'd like you to write a sentence about how your animal is feeling or thinking. So using your animal idea, write down your inner thought as if you're in the role of that animal. Now my rabbit was scared to go on the risky journey, but your animal might be brave and think that he can do it. So think about how different your animals might be thinking compared to mine, or they might be thinking the same, and write down your inner thoughts.